It's just not fair. They're going to blame Mobius for this. It's not his fault. Owen Wilson did nothing. Wow. What is up, MCU fans? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to cut straight to the chase today and talk about the ending of Loki Episode 2. What just happened? Did we just get introduced to Lady Loki? Well, the answer is yes, but that wasn't the only big reveal of this episode. We got numerous wonderful moments between Loki and Mobius. Loki becoming a part of the TVA, joining the team, even though some of the team members were very hesitant to have him, but it's becoming this, or at least was, becoming this buddy cop adventure, and this entire episode was filled with great laughs, incredible gags. I loved the library scene where we learned that Loki wasn't allowed to learn about a lot of things. Example, the end of time. That's off limits. Pretty much everything is off limits except for what you are supposed to know. I also loved their trip to Pompeii, because Loki learned, or at least he had the idea, that Lady Loki, in which we now know, would be hiding out in the midst of these apocalyptic events, because what she is able to do is not actually having any impact on that situation, because everything's going to explode or die, or whatever. I do want to pause really quick and say thank you guys so much for watching. Please start a discussion in the comments down below. It's a spoiler-filled video, so talk spoilers. And if you like these videos every single week, be sure to drop your thumbs up. It helps this channel, and it tells me you want more. I find it really interesting where we end up at the end of this episode. The year, the fact that it's on Earth, and I don't know if that location is going to entirely influence what we get in the MCU whenever we get there in the MCU. I think they just picked it because it's kind of this subdued thing, but you would think there would be a superhero there to help, right? Because it's an event that's going to lead to destruction. Regardless, we see our team end up on the hunt for this alternate Loki. Also, a lot of people were kind of predicting Mephisto after seeing the painting at the end of episode 1, and now I think we can lay that to rest, because what that case was all about was obviously the horns, with Loki being the villain there, and this Loki specifically, as we now know, Lady Loki, and we're going to talk about Lady Loki here in just a second, and what it could mean for this show. Essentially, this Loki is the alternate variation of our Loki that has been uncatchable and unstoppable, and there is a plan in place that she has, it looks like, to infiltrate the TVA, and that is something that we're definitely going to expand upon in future episodes, and obviously we're going to learn what her plan is and why she is doing what she is doing, but to make a decision like this is a big one, and not only is she escaping from the TVA, but our Loki decides to follow her. Now, when they have the conversation at the end, and this is one very important thing that I want to talk about, and Loki says, "My plan all along was to betray them," I don't think he's telling the truth there, and he always says, "I never lie." But I think in this instance, what Loki was trying to do was to lure Lady Loki in and actually accomplish this mission for Mobius. Now, from Mobius's perspective and from the team's perspective, seeing Loki follow Loki into the portal, well, yeah, it kind of looks like they were working together, especially when you look at our agent, Hunter B-15, kind of gets knocked out, doesn't know it, wakes up, and believes that our Loki was the one that took her out. So a lot of things happen in the final few minutes that makes Tom Hiddleston's version of Loki look really bad. But I truly believe that he was trying to do good there. I think Mobius was finally starting to get through to our Loki. And again, like I said at the beginning of this video, no one is going to believe him because it looks really bad. But I think Tom Hiddleston is trying to capture that version. One, he wants to be the best Loki. We know that's his mentality. But two, I think he's slowly starting to realize a few things and not turn a new leaf entirely, because we know he always has his plans and motivations, but to actually do something good for once, and that's really cool. Now let's talk about what the big reveal was in this episode, and that is, well, first of all, we kind of knew who the villain was. It was going to be another version of Loki, and we see in the episode when Mobius is showing many different versions of Loki, that at that moment we said to ourselves, oh no, well, it may not be Tom Hiddleston after all, and it's not. The actress here is actually Sophia Di Martino, who doesn't have a massive filmography here. She was in the film Yesterday, in the series Into the Badlands, in the series Flowers, but this is one of the first marquee roles for her where we are all going to be able to see what she is made of. And just first impressions alone, she looks and feels like what I believe an alternate variation or version of Loki would be. Now, Austin, is there significance to Lady Loki in the comics? Absolutely. In the 2008 Thor run in Marvel Comics, as well as the Dark Reign event, Loki was using his new forms to manipulate people, and one of those forms was Lady Loki, in which her personality and traits in the comic books are exactly that of Loki's. Now, in the comics, it gets really deep here. She was part of a team comprised of Norman Osborn, Emma Frost, Doctor Doom, and Namor. And that's kind of interesting because now we know that Marvel, they kind of taken over Fox, so they have the X-Men, they have Namor, which is a big rumor going into the next Black Panther film. There's actually already been someone apparently cast as Namor, so these are always possibilities when we look at characters' lore from the comic books, but that was a team that she was a part of during the Dark Reign run. Now, I don't think that's where the show is going to go. I think we're going to keep Lady Loki strictly a villainous presence of this series, but I have a feeling towards the end, maybe around episodes 5 or 6, we will understand that the motivations there are a bit more significant, because right now on the surface, it seems like Lady Loki is the villain of the show. And, well, she kind of is. And our Loki clearly went after her, and he's on his own now, because Mobius and the team, well, they're going to have to hunt down both Lokis. But when we look at the trajectory of where Lady Loki is going, and if we follow a similar path of our Loki, we know that there has to be something there that is telling her to do what she's doing, whether it be infiltrating the TVA, which is what it seems like she's doing, or taking these plans and creating a bigger, more monumental event. We know that the same writer here, Michael Waldron, is writing Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. And for me, it already feels like Sophia has the one-up on our version of Loki. I loved the concept of her passing through different people just to have a conversation with our Loki. In that way, it almost feels like she's more powerful at this point. We know that's not the case. They're the exact same character, but I'm interested to see the distinctions there, and I'm interested to see where this goes. So I want to know in the comments down below, what was your expression, and how do you feel about Lady Loki, or this alternate version of Loki being introduced, played by this actress who, in my opinion, is just nailing the look and feel of what that character should be. What are your thoughts on all those things down below? And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like one next week talking about episode 3, be sure to drop your thumbs up down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I am loving this show so far. The quality is so high. It is on pace to being my favorite Marvel series, but I'm curious to see what you guys think down below. All right, guys, come back next week. I'll talk to you soon.